hectic day today. We're just leaving the house now. It is about 7:45 in the morning and we are on our way. We have one stop before we get there, which is to go get some tea because our Keurig broke yesterday. So one quick stop to Timmy's to get a tea, to get things going, and then we will get there and set up. I did look at the email last night just to make sure that I was going to be able to pull my vehicle right up to my spot to unload, and it does look like I will be. So unless there's been any changes since the email went out, we'll be able to roll the car right up to our spot, unload. I think the trickiest part for me, just being by myself for the first time, is going to be setting up my tent. It's got a weird locking mechanism at the top, so I think I'm probably going to look a little awkward when I'm setting it up, but if I can get it done, then that's the goal, I guess, right? I know there'll be a lot of people around me as well, so I'm sure I'll have lots of helping hands if I am struggling. But yeah, so we are on our way. I will catch up with you when you get there. Hey guys, so I thought I'd just do a quick check-in. It is about an hour and a half since the market has started and it is so busy, probably twice as busy as we were last year. So I haven't even been able to film because it's just been busy. The downside is I do all my filming on my phone, so I do have my Square here as well for payment. So a lot of people are paying with the Square, so I just don't have the ability to use my camera, but I thought I'd take this moment. We are free and clear of anybody in the tent right now, so just thought I'd check in, and it's going really, really well so far. So. It's recap time. So excited to recap this last market with you guys. A while back I posted my best market that I've ever had so far this year from back in June. And although we didn't hit the same metrics we did back in June, this is the closest that we've gotten so far this year. This is definitely my second best market of the year. It was so busy. It was great. I did one little check-in that you saw, and that's the only time that I was able to actually get my phone out to record. It was that busy all day. The market was from 10 to 4. 10 a.m. we were all set up and ready to go. And from where I was positioned in the yard, it's basically their side yard is where we set up all of our tents. You can see the road from where we are, but you can also see there's a road at the back of the property where all the parking is for everybody that's coming to the market. And it was crazy. 10 o'clock in the morning hit, and it was just car after car after car, and they were coming in and they were parking. That parking lot was full within 5 minutes. It was crazy. So the way that they had kind of it set up, and unfortunately I didn't take videos of kind of where we were versus where the animals were, because it is a farm that we're on. They're an alpaca farm. But they do have more. They're expanding as the years go on. So now they have some, I think they have some llamas there. They had a couple emus there. They have piglets there, peacocks, birds. You know, there's a lot going on at that farm, and it's exciting. It's a really good, fun time. So when people park in the event parking, they walk up through where all the animals are, so you kind of get to see the animals, and then they come into the market area. And yeah, I was not expecting it to be that busy that quickly, but it was, and it was a really, really good day. It was overcast most of the day. It was quite chilly. I'm glad I was wearing a sweatshirt. I probably could have had another layer on just because it was cold. The sun came out a little bit, and I was super happy to have the sun out, because that little bit of sun just made a world of difference. It definitely warmed things up. A lot of us that were under the tents, we were trying to find a sunny spot to stand in for a little bit, just to try and warm up, but that's okay. Speaking of warming up, I got my Betty here, got Tucker here. I am cozied up in a warm blanket because it is getting cold. Winter is upon us very quickly. We're the end of October now, and I don't want to turn the heat on yet. I try to hold off until at least November 1st to turn the heat on, and we're not quite there yet, so I'm just bundling up in a blanket, and then I have Tucker here beside me that will keep me nice and toasty warm as we go through the market review. So let's get to it. I have my book. I have everything written down here. So yeah, let's go through it and see how we did. And I'm actually going to compare it to last year. So this is the second year I've done this particular market at Ruby's Acres alpaca farm. And yeah, this year definitely takes a cake over last year. We did way more sales this year than we did last year. And funny enough, the weather last year was nicer than it was this year, but I think they just, I think I talked about it in the last video when I was doing my market prep video, and they did a really good job at advertising this year. They had a sponsored Facebook page, which I think really helped. A lot of people were sharing and commenting, and a lot of those people ended up coming. So I think that really helped versus last year. So overall, 10 to 11 o'clock in the mornings. Like I said, this ran from 10 to 4. So 10 to 11 was a really good start. We started out at $134. So in that hour, we sold a small chicken. Now I have one to show you because this was the first time that I've done these little guys at a market, and they were really popular. So I'm going to whip a bunch more up for my next market coming up. Only 2 weeks away. So I have a lot of work to do in the next 2 weeks to get prepared, because we sold a lot at this market. So I need to get a lot of smaller things made up before the next market in 2 weeks. So these little guys, and I will put the pattern in the comments as well, but they're just like a little chicken. This one I'm going to keep for myself. I actually altered it just ever so slightly. I made the bottom a little bit kind of pointier. So I didn't want to sell that one because it didn't match the rest that I had, but they're cute. I'm selling them for $5. They're a quick and easy thing to make up. I can batch make them. I don't like sitting for a long time and making the same thing over and over and over again. I just get bored with it. And that's why I think I have such a variety of things, and I don't have a lot of duplicates and, 3, 4 of the same item, because I just can't sit and make the same thing over and over and over again. I don't know why, but these little guys, I'm just able to do the bodies really quickly, and then I go back and I do the combs, and then I put their little beaks on. So as much as I don't like batch making anything, these ones do work up really quickly. So I'll make a bunch of those up over the next couple days now. So we started with one of those guys. I had a little pig squish. I had one of them. It was just one of those things that I had made a while ago, and I don't know why I only made one, because they're another quick little quick workup. But I had him. An itty bitty bunny. So again, I had one of them. Hindsight, I probably should have had more because it was one of the first things that went. It works up really easy, and I don't have any pictures of them, unfortunately, because it was the first time I had made it for this market. There was kind of a few things that I made for this market that I was just testing the waters on to see how they would sell. And yeah, again, they did really well. So I'll probably go back and make more of these items for the next market. So it was a little bunny, a caterpillar. Again, first time I had one of these items at the market, sold right away. We did one of our little pocket whales that we do, the little guys that we do for $4. I had a bee on the table. It was kind of a medium-sized bee, and it went right away. There was this lovely lady. She came up, she saw it, she had it in her hand. She said, "This bee is speaking to me. I need to have it." So she bought that. Our big mallard, one of the most popular thing I think I've been selling all year. I've mentioned it before. One of those big mallards. And my goal was to make 2. I had 2. I had to only put the beak on the second one, and I didn't get it done before market day. So I had this wise idea that I was going to do it at the market. Well, it was super busy, didn't have time. There was one little spot in the day where I could sew the beak on. And I was trying to do it fast to get it on the table for the last half. And because I did it fast, I wasn't paying attention, and I sewed it on completely crooked. So it came home with me. I wasn't going to put it on the table. So it's going to come home. I'm going to have to cut the beak off and re-sew it on for the next market. So if I have time, I will try and make a second one for this market because it's so popular. It was cute too because it was a mom that bought it for her son. Her son was maybe a year and a half, 2 years old. He was in the stroller, and she just plopped it right on him, and he just went right for the big hug and the big squish hug. So that was great to see. And then the last thing that we sold in the first hour, I had a corn on the cob that I have. So I'll have to make some more of those because those are another popular seller. That one I've been carrying around with me, I think, since June, and it finally sold. So that sold. So altogether, $134 in the first hour. Second hour, 11 to 12. This was the biggest hour for sales for sure. This is when the cars were just still coming in. I didn't see a whole lot of cars leaving at this point. I don't know how big that parking lot was back there, but it definitely held a lot of cars. I mean, it's a farm. It's just a big field. So lots of space. So hour number 2, we hit over $200 in this hour. We did $218 from 11 to 12. So the first thing that sold in that hour was a unicorn. Again, about a medium-sized unicorn. So I did a unicorn. I did a turtle. One of the little mushroom pops, one of the little $4 guys. We did a little yellow duck squish. So I had the mallard squish that I did, and I did one random yellow duck one as well. Well, I was hoping to make more, but I got the one made. That went right away. We sold a small octopus, one of my small pumpkins that I've had, and I've actually been carrying those around since last year. So I think it was a pink one that I had. It was a pink with a little green stem. So I sold that. I sold a keychain, so I did sell some more of my keychains this market. So one of those, another small chicken, leggy froggy, penguin. So I did another new pattern, which was a penguin. A lot of people have been asking for penguins, so I made 2 up. They're another quick one. I sold them for $12, and they both sold. So another item that I will continue making for sure for the upcoming markets. A triceratops, another one that I did for this market, first time making it. And I'm going to show you here in a second where I made that from, because that's going to be a whole separate video that I'm going to be doing shortly. One of my little mushroom boys, I did one of those guys. 2 more, the little small chickens, a caterpillar, a baby tortoise, another one of the little mallard squish, 2 more small chickens, a ghost, and another baby chicken. So a lot of these little chickens were going. So that hour was $218. And then from 12 to 1, although it didn't seem like it was getting slower, there was still a lot of people coming into the tent and talking. There just wasn't a lot of sales in that next hour. There was a chip truck as well as some ice cream. So the chip truck definitely picked up around lunchtime, of course. So from 12 to 1, we only did $36, but we did talk and interact with a lot of people in that hour. So from 12 to 1, we had one of the small chickens again, another ghost, a keychain, and then the second triceratops that I had made for this market. From 1 to 2, a little bit better, but still not as crazy as the first couple hours. We did $44 from 1 to 2. So in that hour, we sold mallard squish, another mushroom boy. So the mushroom boys I sell for 10. We did a butterfly keychain, 2 more of the little mini pops that I had, another mallard squish, and 1 more baby chicken to finish off that hour. Going to 2 to 3, it did start picking up again. So I did notice sort of in the 1 to 2 range, there was a lot of cars starting to leave now. I think they had done all the activities. They went through the market. They probably grabbed some ice cream because a lot of people were buying ice cream despite it being so chilly that day. And then it was kind of like another wave of cars started coming in again. And this is where we got to around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, we started seeing more cars coming in and before the market ended. So in that hour, we did $140. So not a bad hour there as well. In that hour, we sold the second penguin that I had made up. We sold another keychain, a jellyfish. I sold both of the jellyfishes. The one kind of explained how I sold the second one. I did a sunflower turtle, so he was a bit of a bigger turtle. So did the sunflower turtle, sold him. We did one of the little rubber duckies in that hour. 4 of the little pocket whales. I had one of the little crocheted beer that I've had since June that I made up for the beer festival. So one of those sold. I sold one of the big chickens, and I should have grabbed one for the video. So this big chicken, it's not the Mabel chickens. It's a different chicken pattern that I got off of Pinterest for free as well. And it's more, I guess, proper chicken look. I don't know if that makes any sense at all. But it's basically a pattern. It works out very similar as the Mabel, but then there's separate wings. So you sew the wings on separately. And I don't know if it was just where I had it placed. It was kind of one of the first things that you saw when you came in from the tent at a certain angle. And everyone mentioned this chicken. I was shocked that it hadn't sold yet. I had 2 of them. I had one that was just white, and then I had another one that was kind of like a creamy black speckly color. And they're both made up with blanket yarn. So they do work up a little bit bigger. And everyone came up. They pick it up. And, oh my God, look at the chicken. Oh my goodness, look at the chicken. Oh, the chicken just looks like so-and-so. They had a farm. No one was buying it. I was shocked. Finally, we sold one. So that was 2 to 3. And we did another keychain and then finished out the hour with another little mushroom pop. And then the last hour, 3 to 4, it definitely died down. Now, there were other markets that were going on in the surrounding areas of where we were. There was one that I had actually almost signed up for. Earlier in the year, it was an evening one that's closer to where I live, where we were. I wasn't far. I was only about 40 minutes away from where I live, but there is a market, an evening market on that same day closer to where I live that I was going to do. And I don't know why I chose not to. I think I second-guessed myself. I wasn't sure how busy it was going to be, just because it's in a very small little village. And this one's in a bigger area. I'm still happy that I did this one. Obviously, it worked out very well going to this market. It was very busy, so I'm very happy with the results in the end. But that market started at 3 o'clock. So I think people were going to this market, then they would go to the evening market. So if somebody wanted to make a full day of going to markets. So yeah, so in that last hour, I did sell a mallard squish, a keychain, 3 of the little pocket whales. I sold out of all the pocket whales and little mushroom squishes that I had. Another leggy froggy, and 1 more rubber ducky to finish off the day at 43. So yeah, so all in all, very, very good day. And I thought I had the total. I did. Grand total, $615. So not too shabby. Like I said, not as good as the one in June, which we tipped over $900, but I am okay with $600. That is gonna buy me some more yarn to keep making some things for the upcoming holiday markets that we have coming up next. So when we look at a quick comparison to what we did this year versus what we did last year, big delta. So I have actually the book from last year as well. I found it just before I decided to do this video. So in the first hour of this market, when we go back, $134 in just the first hour. Last year at the same market, in the first 3 hours, I did $150. So all total last year, and again, the market went from the same time, it was 10 to 4 again. I only did $360. Now last year, starting out, was really, last year was my first year doing markets. And $360 was a big number for me last year doing markets. So just to see the growth in just a year is amazing for myself. I don't know if it's just I'm making a different mix. I probably have more on my table, to be honest with you. A lot of my stuff is smaller stuff, but it's a price point that everyone's after, and I think that is what is making my markets a little bit more successful this year than they were last year. Last year, I was just trying to make really big items, and not everyone wants to pay that much. I understand that. So that's why I started getting into some of the smaller things for this year, because I noticed a pattern that people were really buying the smaller things. So if I can have a table full of items that are $30 and under, they're going to do really well, especially going into the holiday season. This is really where my focus is going to be. I'm really going to try and focus on making items that are under $30 or $30 and under, just so people can afford things. I mean, the world right now is a tough place to be. It doesn't matter where you're living. It seems like around the world, prices are going up, and it's hard. So for the people that, want to come out to markets, and as a small business owner, and I've mentioned before, I do have a full-time job. This is really started as a hobby for me, and it's kind of growing a little bit here and there, and but still, it's a small business that I run on the side, and I'm very, very thankful for anybody that comes to the markets and spends their money with my items. So very, very appreciative for all their sales, for sure, small or big, it doesn't matter. So to give you kind of a quick little glimpse of an upcoming video that I'm going to be doing, I'm not sure when I'm going to do it. I'm hoping soon. Again, I'm going to be busy making a lot of things in the next couple weeks, so I probably won't be able to get it done in the next couple weeks. So a couple of the items that I had on my table, one was a Triceratops, the other one was the caterpillar, which I got from this book here. So this is from Crochet by Jenna. She has a YouTube channel herself, and I have really taken to her channel. I watch it all the time. So when she was talking about her book on her channel, I immediately went to look for it, and I picked it up. So this has, it's over, so 40 crochet patterns. They're all no-sew. And I've talked about it before. You can't go wrong with a good no-sew pattern, and there's 40 of them in here. And it's very easy to read. So I'm going to try and do a video making quite a few of these items. There's so many things I want to make, and I've only made 2 so far. So I just want to do a really, a recap of the book and the patterns and how they work up, and just my take on it. So far, what I've made has been super easy to make. Like I said, the instructions in the book, very, very straightforward. So it's a good little book. So yeah, that's going to be an upcoming video. The other thing that I was going to mention as well, so my one jellyfish that I had another vendor. She was 2 tents down from me, and she came to me at the end of the day and had her eye on this jellyfish, and she goes, "Would you be open to do a trade?" And she was selling some jewelry, some handmade jewelry. And I said, well, let me take a look and see what you have. And yeah, I'd be open to it. I've done trades before at markets, and so I'm happy to do that. So I went down, and she had a couple bracelets that were the same price as what the jellyfish was. So we did a trade. So this was one of the bracelets that I bought, and hopefully it pops up. So really pretty. It's like some stars and some jellyfish. I think I have it backwards right now. So yeah, so some jellyfish and stars. The other one where it was glass beads and they had stars around them. So I've been wearing them every day since we did the trade. So yeah, so that was really thoughtful, and I like my bracelets, and I hope she likes her jellyfish just as much as I like my bracelets. But anyways, guys, I don't want to keep you here too long. This video I know is getting probably a little bit longer. But yeah, so now we're into more prep for the next market coming up in the beginning of November. It's hard to believe we're already coming up to November. I don't know where the time is going all of a sudden. But this market was my last outdoor market. All the markets going forward are going to be indoor markets now. So yeah, should be a little bit warmer. But anyways, thank you so much for following along, guys. Appreciate you. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.